low level management. And when it's come to Fayol's principle, it is basically more practical and you could say universally applicable principle, which works on reality and which works on the pervasive function of the management. Okay. Now, when I'm just talking about the bureaucracy approach, first of all, the bureaucracy approach, which is given by Max Weber, and he was German sociologist. The bureaucracy approach is based on the contribution towards authority structure and how the organization relationship with the authority and responsibility. Because as I think we discussed in the last sessions as well, when we talked about Fayol's principle, we were talking about the companies, you could say, authority and responsibility. Because as you know that whenever we are working in any organization, we have certain level of, you could say, structure, which is defined. The structure means top level, middle level, lower level, and different, usually having, you could say, different type of personality structures we have. Okay. Now, when I'm just talking about this particular structure, we always need to think in mind about there are three type of, we could say, legitimate authority structure, which is defined by Max Weber. Okay. Fine. So this is basically three different type of legitimate structure we are talking right now. The first is called rational legal authority. Yes, definitely. Second is called traditional authority, and third is called charismatic authority. Okay. Now, what these particular three things are talked about. Now, when I'm just talking about the rational authority, the rational authority is basically more concerned with how the basically companies are basically keeping in this consideration about, because rational legal authority is basically something when I'm just talking about ranking structure. Okay. These ranking structure in terms of senior manager, regional manager, lower level assistant manager. Okay. This is basically the ranking structure I'm talking right now. These type of, you could say, rational legal authority is basically always used under, you could say, businesses, or we can talk about military authority, or these type of system is basically followed in government organizations as well. Okay. Then we talk about traditional authority. Traditional authority basically deals with when a particular, you could say, karta of the family. You know about the Hindu undivided family. Okay. Whenever you are registering your business in HUF, there is, you could say, one karta is there, and karta basically is the head of the business. Whenever we need to take any decision, because we talk about family business, there is always having a head, those who are actually taking a decision making in the company, and that particular individual always possesses the authority to take the decision making in the organization. Okay. Then last one is called under charismatic authority. Charismatic authority is basically nothing but when the people follow some leader, when the people actually making someone your role model. Okay. In such a cases, you always follow their instruction blindly. Okay. Charismatic authority are basically such sort of authority when this is based on follower belief. Okay. Because the person having some different charisma, different power, different authority, different aura, we can say, a very unique style of managing the company. These type of, you could say, the approach or the authority will become under charismatic authority. Like Tata, we talk about Ambani, we talk about Birla. These are basically the role model becoming for the company, and people do always follow them. Steve Jobs, we talk about. Okay. So these type of, you could say, authority is called your charismatic authority. We talk about Narendra Modi. He's basically belong to charismatic authority only. Okay. So these are the basic 3 points which comes under bureaucratic approach. And as per Max Weber, these 3 type of, you could say, bureaucracy structure given by Max Weber, which is being followed in reality as well. Any doubt to anyone, please? Is this clear, guys? Everyone? Can I have the confirmation? Last one is basically charismatic authority, where people do follow, you could say, some leaders, some managers, those who become the role model. Because of their unique style of management, because of their unique style of decision making, that type of, you could say, authority will come under charismatic. Like Narendra Modi, everyone is following the leadership in the world nowadays. Clear, guys? Perfect. So now you can see that I think regional legal authority. Okay. Now we'll discuss this point. I think so. Because as per Weber, basically they have assigned some basic features of basically regional legal authority. Okay. So first structure as per you could say rational legal authority or bureaucracy approach, definitely that is called your division of work. Okay. Now here the division of work basically nothing but how, I think yesterday we do remember, guys, we discussed this particular concept in the Fayol principle as well, that a task should be you could say distributed to different worker based on their specialization. Based on their specialization. Okay. Hierarchy of position. Yesterday we also discussed about the same as well, that we always need to define the hierarchy of the particular company. Hierarchy in terms of line and staff management, that who would be the lower position, who will take care about the middle level position, who will take care about the top level position of the company. It means that hierarchy of the authority should be properly described, properly defined in order to take the decision making in the company without any you could say confusion, without any disturbance in the structure of the organization. That is called hierarchy of position. Okay. So division of work, hierarchy of position. Is this 2 point clear, guys? Because this is the same point I think we done in the last session as well of Fayol's principle. Clear? Perfect. Next one we have rules and regulations now. Now, as you know that yesterday we discussed about rules and regulation, means we are talking about the work culture. Okay. Rules and regulation basically are associated with the certain, you could say, policies, regulation, procedure that should be clearly defined by the top management to the organization, that how you need to you could say take the decision making, what sort of operation you need to perform, how the things you could say could be treated in the company equally with the employees of the organization. So the rules and regulation is basically more associated with the procedure, rule, regulation, and the benefit of the same. Means we need to focus on the standardization of the operation making and the decision making in the company that will define the work culture of the organization. Okay. Then we have the next point that is called the impersonal conduct. Okay. Impersonal conduct basically more associated with the organizational member. Okay. Now, what I'm just talking about the impersonal conduct over here, it means that whenever you are taking any decision, okay, because in an organization, each and everyone is working for the betterment of the company, and there is no room of emotion and sentiment. Because see, it is not, we can say it is bad to consider yourself emotional, but your personal emotion should not, you could say, should not harm or should not become a hurdle in terms of, you could say, processing of the company. You always need to take the decision more rationally in the organization so that the goal of the organization should be achieved, and there should not be any sort of interferences when it comes to achieving the target of the organization. That is called impersonal conduct. You cannot mix your personal life with the professional life. It's that simple about the impersonal conduct. Next one is about the staffing of the particular company. Now, when I'm just talking about the staffing of the company, staffing means basically relationship between the employee and the employer. Okay, means as you know that whenever you're joining even a company, that employer will always actually tell you each and everything about the conduct, about the salary structure, about your working day, about your length of services, about job responsibility, and that should be clearly defined by the employer to employee. And once the employee will give a consent to you, then only you can consider themselves as a staff of the organization. Staffing is basically nothing but you cannot forcefully hire a particular person until unless there is not having any consent given by the employee in this regards. So you need to clear each and every terms and condition to your prospective employee or to whom you are hiring for your organization, so that there should not be any differences later on when it's come to clarity about what exactly we're going to perform. Clear, guys? I think it's very simple. Staffing and impersonal conduct. Is it clear, guys? Sangeeta, you have some query? Yeah, tell me, Sangeeta. What's your query? Sangeeta, do you have any query, please? Can you please confirm? No? Perfect. Next one, we have the technical competence now. Now, for example, that technical competence, let us suppose you are basically a CA by qualification, and you are very good in, you could say, filing the taxation of the company. Okay. Now, in order to, you could say, file the taxation of the company, you have some technical knowledge about how to file the taxation of the, or how to manage the tax of the company, how to manage the company's account receivables, how to maintain the books of the company. Technical competence I'm talking right now. It means that whenever you're talking about the bureaucracy of the particular company, a particular person to whom you are hiring for any job position, whether it is, you could say, marketing position, financial position, taxation, quality management, manufacturing department, anything it could be, you always need to keep in mind that how the particular you could say process or progress of the company would be in this regard. Because technical competence basically nothing but whenever you gonna to hire a particular employee, that individual must have a prominent experience in that particular field. They have very good sound knowledge about the same as well. That exactly will be the part of your technical competence. Then we talk about the next part, that is called official records now. Now, official record basically nothing but whenever you are dealing in with anything, whenever you are taking any decision, whenever you are, you could say, performing any transaction in the company as well, you always need to maintain the record of even a particular minute transaction in the organization. Official record basically work as a legal document for the company, and that legal document can be used by the company for its further proceeding. So that is basically the last 2 points about the bureaucracy approach. How this bureaucracy approach based on 3 basic parameters, that is about your rationality, charismatic leadership, and traditional leadership of the particular organization. So that is basically the 3 major points, and how these particular things may be applicable, implemented in the organization. Now there are certain criticism we have, guys. Okay. Because as you know that bureaucracy on paper, we can define that it is very, very good system. But when it's come to practical implications, somehow it is very difficult, because rules being designed by the company, but in reality, it is being followed by everyone, maybe or may not be. Okay. It does not consider informal and interpersonal difficulty. Means this particular bureaucracy approach is not at all talking about the personal life or personal matter of the organization. This always discourage your innovation. Definitely, there is no point that you can come up and you can just put up your point forward. Okay. Goal displacement. It may be possible that a particular person may think more about their personal goal, irrespective of the organizational goals. And the complex hierarchy will always, you could say, create some trouble for the company. Okay. That complex hierarchy, when I'm just talking right now, when you're talking about the bureaucracy approach, the structure of, you could say, authority and responsibility is very complex. Okay. Means whenever, let's suppose, in order to take any decision, you need to take approval from 5 authorities, for example. And that basically become very time consuming. So these are the basic 5 major, you could say, criticism of bureaucracy approach. Is this clear, guys? Number 3, discourage innovation, because there is no point, Mr. Fawzi, basically there is no point that a particular person can put up their word forward, because bureaucracy is basically such a structure where the top management is the only one who will take the decision making in the company. There is no point that the bottom up approach will be followed, where the lower level employee can give their suggestions to the top level management. That is a discouragement, we can say, of innovation. Is clear, guys, everyone? See, goal displacement basically nothing but sometimes it happens in the organization when a particular person working in the organization may think upon that he has to think upon its personal accomplishment first rather to think about the company's benefits. Okay, it means you are basically more, you could say, we can say selfish when it's come to achieving your own goal rather think about the company's goal. That is called goal displacement, because it may be possible that your focus may not be there. You may not be actually, you could say, thinking about the vision, mission of the company. You are thinking about your own benefits first. That is called the goal displacement. And that happened in the bureaucracy actually. Second point, that because Anubhav, basically when we discuss about the consideration of informal organization, when we talk about grapevine, when we talk about, you could say, relationship of a particular worker in the company with their subordinate, that is not being actually encouraged into bureaucracy approach, because interpersonal relationships are very, very important in any organization. Even though if you are following into the organization about the rules and regulation, but each and everyone having their own personal life, on personal, you could say, space to actually discuss, to clarify, to narrate something which is not on the official ground, but it is very, very important that the interpersonal relationship, informal relationship, you always need to give the weightage to, in order to make your employee more comfortable, more, we can say, uh, established, more settled in the company, and that becomes, you could say, a motivational factor for them as well to work in the organization. And it happened because we are human, actually, human being, and we always a social animal. We want people to connect socially, and that is being not being encouraged into bureaucracy approach. Clear, Nubo? Yeah. Fifth one is basically complex hierarchy. Basically, like Mr. Home, I think I'm not know your name actually. when you talk about complex hierarchy, it means that definitely when I'm just talking about several layers, basically there are, I could say, a structure starting from top level management to lower level management. Okay. And the structure which is being designed for big organization, I'm talking specifically, it is very complex. Means there are different authorities, different, you could say, level, where things will always take some time to take decision as well. For example, there is a problem which is being associated with the lower level employee, and he is raising his complaint to his, you could say, immediate boss. That immediate boss will take the permission from the, you could say, from the, you could say, upper authority, and that will actually talk about the complex hierarchy of the company, because decision making will always be a time consuming in bureaucracy approach because of the complex structure of the hierarchy in the organization. ठीक है?